In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the finance module of the website. As you know, we need to have employee salaries in order to calculate your school reimbursement. So let's look at the link down at the bottom. It says finance. Now this is a secure area, so you have to be granted access through our office. Typically, it's 1 or 2 employees for a school building. Let's go ahead and enter. You'll notice we have 3 areas or 3 steps. Let's go ahead and take a look at step 1. Now you're going to provide some default values for all of your school records. This is just a starting point, and then you can update individual records as you need to. So this is meant to save you some time. You can plug in some values and then you're covered for most items as you go. So for example, hours per day. You can calculate how many hours teachers work in a typical school day. So when are they required to be there and when are they free to go home? So that's your framework. And then you can subtract your lunch break from that. So typically it's around 7 hours or 6.5, 6.75, something like that. All right, and then we also look for weeks per year. Typical school year has around 185 days. And as we plug in the weeks, that will calculate your days per year. Typically, that's how many days the students are in session. All right, so those start to create the framework for how many hours an employee works, not only in a week, but throughout the whole school year. All right, then we get down to the bottom here and we have all these extra items that go into a salary profile. So for example, if your school pays into workers' compensation, which it probably does, you can just plug in that percentage right here. And usually that's around 1%. So I'll just go ahead and put that in. Unemployment, retirement, maybe your school pays into a retirement program, and maybe that's like 4%. 4.5% times base salary, something like that. You can plug that in. Life insurance and disability. These are percentages and they will be multiplied by the base salary. Now, if you don't know these figures, that's okay. You can just leave them blank or leave them at 0. And if you want to add them later on an individual basis or plug them in here, you can do so. But these are generally small percentages, and if you don't know them, it's okay to leave them blank. It's not going to be detrimental, typically. All right, we'll return back to the main menu. That was step 1, looking at default values. Let's go to step 2. Now this would be your work schedule. So we have a basic structure here of 7 hours per day, but let's say you have a part-time employee here and we can update that work schedule as we need to. Let's say 5 hours per day. Now that's saving automatically, and what we're doing here at 5 hours a day, that's going to be 25 hours for the week. And then we multiply that by the weeks per year. That gives us our grand total of 925 hours for the year. So you can work these numbers a little bit to anything that makes sense to you. This number 1295 is very common. So typical 7-hour workday, 37 weeks per year. That's right in the ballpark of what we're looking for. Notice down at the bottom, you can update an entire column at one time if you need to do that. Sometimes that's just the easiest way to go. Okay, so let's go back to the main menu. That's our work schedule. So we have everyone updated with what their typical workday, work week looks like. Now you can go into individual employees and you can update their profiles as you need to. So right now you'll see I don't have any salary information. So you would go into each individual and you would just plug in a salary. Now this employee, let's say he's paid by the hour. So we would click paid by the hour and let's just plug in a figure here, $22 an hour. Now it's saved automatically, so you don't have to worry about sending or submitting. Okay, now medical costs, this is something to pay attention to. Probably your school pays into a medical program for your employees. Some schools do, some schools don't. But this would be the school cost only. So not what the employee pays, but what you, the employer, pays. And it would be the total cost for medical, dental, vision, and that would be for the whole year. So that would be sometimes a fairly large number. Let's say it's $22,000, and that's a cost to the school for this employee. Now you'll notice FICA, this is your Medicare, Medicaid, that kind of thing, and that comes out, that's a federal figure, so that's very common. That will be plugged in automatically. You shouldn't have to change that. Workers' comp, remember I plugged in 1%, unemployment, and then retirement 4.5%. So you can update these figures as you need to on an individual basis. And then notice down at the bottom, we have this other pay. This is just a column that you can use to plug in any number that doesn't seem to fit elsewhere. So let's say an employee is compensated through tuition reduction or something, then you can take a figure and put that in, and it saves, and you can even make a note of it here. So tuition reduction. Okay, so we've just granted this person a $5,000 boost really in their compensation through that tuition reduction program. All right, so we're back on the main menu. Notice for this individual, I have $22 per hour, $22,000 for medical, and then all of the extra items like Social Security and retirement, that comes up with a figure here, and a grand total. Now notice what we're doing. We're taking the grand total, dividing it by the hours per year, and that gives us our hourly wage. Okay, so that's how you update an individual record, and hopefully when you look through this summary report that the numbers make sense to you. You shouldn't see any numbers that jump out and look strange or peculiar to you, so keep an eye on the wage per hour and the base salary, and you should be good to go. Okay, that concludes this video, and thank you for watching.